Calling All Authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, hosted by Robert A. Lane, is on the air, featuring everything you need to know about narrating your own audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. From special guests, including authors and professionals from the book industry, to sharing tools and techniques needed to be a confident and compelling narrator. The journey starts now. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Thank you for joining us here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am Robert A. Lane, and we have a great show planned for you today. Love having authors and book professionals in studio, and today is no exception. So I'm just going to dive right in. First of all, I have this incredible book that is a really wonderful story by Rose Weintraub. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly.
Yes.
Thank you. And it's called Open to Ideas. And we're going to dive into this book and talk a little bit more about Rose's journey through this book and get a little bit of background about your career. So Rose, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Boy, I tell you, this is a really incredible memoir. And I have to say that reading this book, it was kind of a trigger for me a little bit because it reminded me of when my parents passed away, which was only 3 years ago. So before we dive into this, I just want to get a little bit of a background. Maybe you can share about your career as a nurse and how that all came about, why you picked that profession.
Oh, well, yeah, I volunteered when I was in high school at the local hospital in the town I grew up in. And so when it came time to decide on a career towards the end of high school, my counselor said, "Why don't you just become a nurse?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so then I went to nursing school.
And you spent, wow, quite a few years. You worked like, what was it, roughly like 40 years in the
Yes.
in the profession?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it a specialized field, or was it like, a nurse in the ER or something, or
Yeah, I did a lot of different things. I worked med surge. I worked cardiac care, intensive care, many different things. And then I went into management and did that. But I had a really great career.
Now, your book, Open to Ideas, you talk about your husband, Mickey. Now, he was your second husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you give us a little background about how you and Mickey met?
We actually met on a blind date, and the person that wanted to introduce us, I didn't know her very well, and but she said she worked with this guy that she thought I might enjoy meeting, and so he called me, and we decided to go out on a date, and I said, "Well, I'll meet you somewhere." And he goes, "No, no, no, I'll pick you up at your house." And I'm like, "No, I really want." So I said, "Okay, pick me up at my house." And so we did, and went out and found that we really clicked. We had good conversation, and it was just a really nice.
So, it's one of those things where you hear a lot about, maybe it doesn't happen very often, the love at first sight
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Was it kind of like that? I mean, I don't know if it was like love at first sight, but I mean, like, if the connection, to have an instant connection like that, kind of is like that.
It was a really nice connection. I don't know if it was love at first sight, but it didn't take long. and we realized we had a really great connection.
And, just to share a little story with you, I do believe in that. And I do believe in that energy
Mhm.
of connecting. For example, my wife, we got engaged on our first date.
Oh.
So there you go.
Well, you did that fast.
Did that fast, yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because we had known each other. We went to the same grammar school in high school, but I didn't really know her. She was a year behind me. I never hung out with her. I didn't
Oh.
really know her. It was only later in the years when my best friend had grown up across the street from her, and then he moved into my neighborhood when I was a kid. So that's how we became best friends. And I sent her a friend request on Facebook, and we'll condense the story, but basically it's like I just knew, like I needed to be with her. I just knew it. It was
Yeah.
like those
Yeah.
things, we actually knew.
Sure.
And yeah, so then she came to Sedona, and that was our first date. And I asked her to marry me. I had a ring,
Oh,
and she said yes. And what was so funny about that was she said yes, and then I asked her again because I said no, I'm really serious. So yeah, but like I said, I believe in that, and I think that's great that you had this connection.
Mhm.
When did you get married?
We got married in, I can't even remember when it was. Let's see. I don't know. Isn't that funny? I'm like blanking on the date. It's been a long time. We were married for 17
Well,
years.
17 years,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very that's substantial. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So this book, Open to Ideas, I think is just a really incredible memoir because it talks about the journey of when Mickey got sick
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with that, just the experience of having to deal with someone that you love and care about. That's such an important part of your life uh, through his passing, and then the grief and pulling yourself out of, or it's not really pulling yourself out of it. That's not the term I want to use. It's like going through the
Moving
process,
through.
moving through the
Yeah.
process.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you share with us a little bit about what uh, the story, excuse me, the story is in regards to uh, how did you find out, or when did this occur? Because it seemed like it was like unexpected.
Well, it was. And we had been living in Kansas City and had visited Sedona a few times. And of course, like a lot of people, we fell in love with Sedona. And so we moved out here in 2006. And it was like a year later, he said, "Well, I have this kind of pain in my stomach." And, I said, "Well, let's go to the doctor and find out." So we went there, and um, the urologist said, "You have a tumor in your bladder." And we're like, "Oh." So we went through the whole thing of seeing doctors, and he didn't even get to start to get chemotherapy because he became sick, and very rapidly the cancer spread all over his body. And so that was like in June of 2007, and December is when he died. So we were out here a year, and then he got sick and died.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. What I found was fascinating in that journey is that you wanted to have him be with family,
hmm
and
hmm
the lengths that you went to make sure that that happened
hmm
is so commendable. And this is why I consider even a story like this, it's a love story.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a love story. I mean, you had him flown back to Kansas City.
Hmm. Yeah, from Cottonwood, Arizona, which is about 20 miles away. He had been in the hospital and he was in intensive care unit and was on a respirator. And I said he needs to, even if he would have gotten better,
Hmm.
he needs his family around to help. I mean, I was exhausted trying to do it myself and trying to take care of him, as a nurse and as his wife. So, yeah, flew him back. They got him on the plane. I was so exhausted. As soon as he was settled and we took off, I fell asleep.
Yeah,
So,
it takes so much
mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
take care of somebody. You know, I had mentioned before we went on about or maybe I did mention about my parents passing away,
Mm-hmm.
and they were here. I brought them out here from California so
Oh.
that I can keep an eye on them. And then my
Mhm.
dad passed away in January of 2023, and then 2 months later, my mom gone. So gone.
Oh.
So it
Oh.
was, it was an experience. And I know I
Yeah.
mentioned before we started talking that as I was reading this, it's like it was kind of a trigger for me because it
Yeah.
was reminding me of like, wow, like stepping back and then looking, almost like stepping out of the box and looking back in and seeing how much you put in to taking care of somebody and how
Yeah.
much it takes out
Mm-hmm.
of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
really does.
I'm just, I'm like one of those people who just buries emotion,
Oh.
holds it in, and then it grinds on you mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and it definitely grinds on you physically.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you able to, or what was your grief process after Mickey was gone?
Mm-hmm.
How did you deal?
It was really hard. I mean, I write a lot in the book because for me, I journaled all the time.
Mm,
And so it just really helped get my thoughts out because I was out here in Sedona, living by myself.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to deal with it somehow. I went to a grief group. Someone from the hospital I worked at told me about a grief group. So I did that, I think, for 6 weeks. And, you can only do that so long. I mean, there are groups all over the place you could continue to go to. And I'm just like, okay, I went through it. I've had enough of that. And
Yeah.
you just have to put one foot in front of the other, just keep moving forward, feel your grief, do what you need to do
Hmm.
to help you get through it. And so
Yeah.
that's what I did. But, and talking to my family and friends and everything, that helps too. But I don't think they want to just hear you trying to slog through the day all the time. That's hard. So, but you just have to keep going. And part of my writing and journaling was just to keep myself moving forward.
Yeah, it's something that I noticed in the little journaling
Entries, yeah.
entries was you're still writing to Mickey.
I know. I know I was. And I think you can't help that. You're thinking of that person all the time. And so you write to them because you still haven't, I, I don't know, realized they're gone. Maybe you think they're on a trip or something, that they'll come back. But
It's almost
it,
like the process of um, what do you call it? Like loose ends, like tying up loose ends in a
yeah,
sense.
sure,
Uh,
sure.
uh, Maybe it helps with just with. I don't like saying the word closure, but because it never goes away,
Right,
you know.
right.
But to help move
Yeah.
forward.
Mm-hmm. Just
And
keep moving
yeah,
forward.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I know that I do this when I'm not when I don't want to deal with something that's intense or grief, whether it's grief or depression or whatever, is that I do bury myself in my work.
Yeah, sure. And I think a lot of people do that, you know.
Did
And
you?
well, I can't say I buried myself in my work, but I went back to my job at the hospital
Oh, okay.
um, 2 weeks after I got back from his funeral. And I remember my boss saying, "Are you sure?" And I go, "I can't stay home. I can't walk my dog any more than I do."
Yeah.
So I went back to work and I said, "If I can't handle it, I'll tell you and I'll just leave." But that helps you too to kind of feel like you're getting back into a normal life.
Mm.
So that helped.
Yeah, and you mentioned you talked about in the book about like changing things up,
Mhm.
selling old furniture, getting some new
Mhm.
furniture, and there was kind of a conflict with that. You know, there was because it's something that's personal that just you and Mickey maybe had done together. Maybe you bought this
Right.
piece of furniture together or whatever, and then to
Mhm.
let it go and let some of this old maybe memorabilia, these things,
Mhm.
you know. So how did you come to terms with dealing with that inner conflict really?
It takes a while, and it is things you've bought together and your treasures. So
Yeah.
the things that I felt were really close to him, I gave to his son and daughter. Um, and then he had been in the men's clothing industry for years, and so he had like 100 ties and really nice clothes. So I tried to, you know, give those to places that could use them, whether it was charity or one of my nephews was going through treatment program and with a lot of young men. So they got a whole bunch of ties.
Yeah,
So, I did things like that.
that's great. You did a lot of donations,
Hmm.
which you talk about it in your book. Now, there's something that you do talk about in the book, and as you have like chapters of grandmothers.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
explain a little bit what that's all about?
Well, I moved back to Kansas City 8 months after Mickey died. I thought that would help me. Um, and I had worked at a hospital there. I was able to go back to that hospital and work there again. And I lived close to my stepdaughter and some friends that I knew from here. They told me that there were some grandmothers that were coming to Kansas, and I'm like, really? Uh, you know, so I talk about the grandmothers in the book because something that you think is so different and you don't really know what you're doing, but I thought I would do a leap of faith and go see them, and turned out to be very profound.
Yeah, I think that, and people need to realize this, is that, like you say, grandmothers or, or the older generation, whatever anybody wants to label it as, you're, these are people who have experienced life, who have gone through things that you think nobody can relate to me, nobody knows what I feel like. It's like, no, that's not true.
Right.
Because there are other people that are out there who have gone through what you've gone through or something similar, and maybe gone through even more harrowing experiences that you couldn't even
Mm-hmm.
imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's wise to talk to people. I love having conversations with people that are older than I am because it's their experience.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And for what you went through, and maybe people going through similar things can definitely feel like I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm. Well, and these women were well into their 80s, but we learned about their culture and some of their customs,
Mm.
but I think they all had lost their husbands, and but it was just their wisdom, um, and learning from them and how kind they were. And they were different. I mean, one was from Alaska, one was from the Southwest somewhere. Just very different experiences.
And with your book, Open to Ideas, is there maybe one or two key points that you would want a reader to pull from?
hmm And the reason I titled the book Open to Ideas is because when you have a profound loss and something kind of pushes you in a direction you didn't think,
Mhm.
um, don't be afraid of it. Embrace it and learn from it. You just don't know what you're going to learn
Yeah.
from people. So, I mean, I talk about how going out to see these grandmothers was something that I thought, am I crazy? Why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. I mean, it was a whole new place, all new people, but it turned out to be a profound experience. I mean, I could have left, but I didn't. And I learned a lot from it.
And what brought you, because now you're in Kansas City and now you're in Sedona, so
hmm
so what was the turning point that brought you back?
I had this pull back to Sedona. So after being in Kansas City 2 years, I did leave. I had things to take care of here, which I had property and things. I mean, I could have done it from Kansas City, but I felt a pull back to Sedona. I don't, I don't know what it is, but you feel that pull.
Well, it's an energy thing. It's an
Yeah,
energy thing, right?
right,
Right.
right.
Well, I have to say that an Open to Ideas is a great book, and again, uh, for those of you who are listening or even watching the podcast, this is a great book. I have a link to the Amazon link in the description, so make sure you pick up a copy of this. And the one thing that I want to share, and maybe Rose, you can give a little thought on this, is that I think that people need to read stories like this, need to read memoirs like this, because I feel it helps you realize that, number one, you're not alone.
hmm
You're not alone in
hmm
dealing with things that are traumatic, whatever it is, whether it's a loss, grief, depression, anxiety. There's so many things that people
hmm
deal with that I think books like this, I worked on, I have an author who I helped with her audiobook. It was The Husband on Loan from Heaven. And she was young and her husband passed away
hmm
from just like a freak skiing accident.
hmm
Uh, and it was, again, but it was again her journey of how to come back and deal with the process of
hmm
grief. And these are all great stories. And this is why I
hmm
feel your story is great and that everybody should read it because it really helps you understand. Even if you haven't gone through that,
hmm
we are mortal beings
Uh-huh.
and we're not going to be here forever. So it's a good training ground to learn how to deal with very intense things that are going to
Yep.
happen in your life.
Yep.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think you never know what people are going through. And memoirs are my favorite genre to read because you always learn something, and
Yeah.
everybody has such different experiences. And so it's always interesting to read someone's story.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Rose, we're almost out of time. I mean, it flies by.
It does.
Thank you so much for being here, for coming in
Oh,
studio, talking about your book and giving us a little background of your life.
thanks.
Very fascinating. I very much appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, Robert.
And those of you who you got to order this book. Okay, if you don't have this book, order it. Open to Ideas. It's on Amazon. Grab a copy of this. It's a beautiful story, a great read, and you can learn so much from it as well. And of course, as always, I give you your assignment after every podcast, and that's this. When you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, give them a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world a difference in somebody's life. And that, like we talked about today, You never know what somebody's going through. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Or maybe it's something that's a lot deeper rooted. And just that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. My very special guest is Rose Weintraub. And don't forget, I got that link to her book in the description. Are there any other places that people can get in touch with you? Rose, or
Amazon.
just Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great. We got that link in the description. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, my friends. We'll talk to you on the next edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode. And remember, only you can narrate your story the way it's meant to be heard.